Hi everyone, Phil from Clearwater Airsoft here again. Just thought before I do a video on how to change the hop rubber on the VFC gas blowbacks, I thought it might be interesting just to do a little video on some of the tools that I think are essential if you've got a gas blowback AR. So as you can see underneath me now, there are a few tools and a few other things. You're probably wondering what the hell some of those are. These are really ones that are specific to the AR platform. So we'll start with one that everybody should have really. And even if you've got an AEG version, this tool is really useful. It's an armourer's wrench. So if you need to get a delta ring off, then this is the tool that you really need rather than trying to hammer it off with something else. These slots will also do flash hiders, so they'll engage on the flats of an A2 flash hider. You can get loads of different versions. This one's really old now. I've had this for years. It's been battered and abused on all the guns that I've had and many other guns, but it's still going strong. Some of the new ones will have like castle nut hooks on the end. They may have loads more different things like flathead screwdrivers and yada yada yada, which is great. This one just fits in my tool roll, so I find it really useful. This one, anybody who's got a VFC AR that uses plastic handguards, whether it's an M16, A1, A2, the 733, the XM, will realise you will lose fingers and the will to live taking those handguards off. This is a handguard removal tool. So this little prong goes into the magazine well, and these longer arms, you extract them and you put them around the delta ring and then squeeze, and using this, which is inside the magazine well, like that, you can lever the delta ring down using the gun as a fulcrum. This is a fulcrum, sorry, and that is a pivot. And then it makes it a lot easier to get the handguards off. And yeah, if you don't have one of these, this will probably be one of the best £5 to £10 that you'll ever spend if you have one of those guns. Definitely worth getting. This tool is for doing castle nuts, but it's also pretty good for doing certain barrel nuts. So just trying to think, like the BCM, 416s, 417s, where they don't have the same sort of engagement features as a delta nut, sorry. Then you can use this and just sort of torque it up. And it also works for guns where the castle nuts are at different sizes or in weird spacing for the little teeth, so you can tighten that up on the buffer tube. Whereas this one is a castle nut tube tool that's specifically for I can't remember which ones now, but it fits all of my AR-15s with this one. I can't remember what that one's for. That might be Daniel Defense. Can't remember exactly. But that is a specific tool for doing castle nuts. So it engages on 2 of the 4 that are normally their little cutouts, and you can torque it up nice and tight, stop the buffer tube spinning. Anybody who's got a modernish AR will know how wonderful it is to have captive pins, and you never have to worry about losing your body pins out of your receiver. Only problem then is if you want to take the gun apart completely, say to paint it, or just, I don't know, you're just trying to take it all apart, you're swapping receivers, whatever. It's a nightmare to get the pins out, but even more difficult to get the pins back in. So this is to help you remove, I'm not going to there. So you thread this through where the body pin is, you can push the detent pin back in, and it helps you take the body pins out and put them back in as well, more importantly. This little rubber block of goodness is for doing pin removal. So you can see on this side, I think that side is pins in. So you put your foresight in there and it gives you somewhere to knock in the front pins. You've got a little cutout there as well. That's for putting the upper receiver on, sorry. So you can put pins in, pins out. You can put your upper receiver in here with the lugs that engage with the lower receiver face down. So you can knock out the forward assist pin. And then if you turn it over, you can see there the shape of the upper receiver, so you can knock out the pins that are on the gun, like trigger guard there. You've got all the different pins there for the body pins that hold all of the gubbins inside your AR. So really useful. So I think most of these you can get from like Amazon, eBay, AliExpress. They're normally not more than £5–10 each. Another good tool, a good screwdriver with different bits. Not going to go too much into that. my trusty technical adjustment device. Especially with so much thread lock on things, sometimes you just need a bit of brute force, and most of these ARs are pretty durable. Not hitting the gun itself, more as a gentle persuader on some of the tools. So my AR armorer's wrench has seen quite a few strikes from this. On that subject, when you put everything back together, don't forget to Loctite it. I use this one because it's probably one of the weaker ones. It's the purple thread lock. So it makes it a lot easier to get off again when you need to do maintenance, because let's face it, some of these screws aren't made of the strongest material, and the slightest bit of resistance and they can fall apart. Vital for anybody really, whether it's gas blowback rifles or pistols, is a gas valve key. So you can do the fill valves and also the flow valves. So it's got 2 different styles. This is the most common one with the smaller pegs. I think that size is for Western arm mags. Shows how old this tool is. But that will fit pretty much 99.9% of all the inlet valves. So if you've got a leaking gas mag, you can tighten up the fill valve on the bottom and the flow valve on the back, outlet valve. Just make sure they're torqued up nicely. Another great tool, I've had this for absolutely years now and it's served me well, is a pin punch set. There's lots of different pins, and rather than using a screwdriver or an Allen key, just invest in a set of pin punches. Okay, roll pin punches. They've got a little dimple on the end so it doesn't damage the pin. You can thread it into, with this particular set, comes a little handle so you can thread it onto that, so you've got something a bit more to hold it by. But yeah, again, this was about 15-20 quid. Absolutely invaluable. Use the right size for the right pin, you'll never look back, and it just makes life so much easier. And then finally, lubes. So I use the Waldo Dynamics silicone lubes. I've got all 3 of them. I've got the light, medium and heavy. And just recently saw the PTFE lube. I've used super lube in the past, but I found it to be quite gummy, especially if I was using the guns a lot and the bolt was getting cold and the internals were starting to get cold. I found it gummed up. Won't be really possible to tell till the temperature drops, but I've used this, so I find it's not quite as viscous as super lube. It's a lovely pink shade as well, which you'd come to expect from Waldo. I love the packaging, but that's neither here nor there really. But so far I've put it on all of the buffer springs, which I've changed to 85% winter ones. Noticed a marked improvement in gas efficiency and also felt recoil. Gun sounds louder as well. Use it on there to stop the twang that you get, which is just ubiquitous with a gas AR. And I'm also using it on the bolt surfaces where they slide inside the upper receiver, and on the O-rings as well, just to see what it's like. So I've got some guns with just this in, some guns with the silicone lube in. Doesn't seem to be a marked difference in performance, but I think this one might hang around a bit longer due to its more viscous nature over the silicone oils. But both work really well. There's loads of different lubes out there. You don't have to use this one, but this is one that I'm quite keen on. Again, super lube does work. I just find it got a little bit gummy. Made cleaning off when I do maintenance a bit more of a chore. This seems to wipe off quite easily. And you're not using loads of it. Don't smother your parts. That sounded so bad. Don't smother the internals of your gas blowback replica with this stuff. You don't need a huge amount. It's just to stop friction. So those are what I would consider to be absolutely essential. Of course, I mean, there's loads of other tools you can have. And I've got a little toolkit with all sorts of different bits in. I've got a small precision screwdriver set, which is great for adjusting sights and whatnot. All those small screws. Allen keys of all different sizes. So if you do have like an impasse, they're generally 1.5mm Allen keys. If you have the guide hop adjustment system on your VFCs, then they use 3mm Allen keys, so you need quite a long one on some of those guns to reach that. What else would be good? Yeah, I think that's probably it for now. Hit me up in the comments below if there's something you think I've forgotten, or some other tools that you find absolutely invaluable in your gas blowback maintenance journey. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will do the hop rubber change video over this weekend, so that'll be up next week. And as always, if you wouldn't mind liking this video and subscribing and sharing it with all of your airsoft friends to try and get these viewer numbers up and subscriptions up, I would appreciate that massively. Anyway, till next time, see you soon, folks. Bye-bye.